Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me here on the Dash Podcast. I am joined again by a friend from overseas, Miss Nasiphi, who works with our friend Linford Malawi at TISL and is also a primary education learning support specialist. She's got a lot of things going on, and I can't wait to talk to you more about this company and what they're doing in South Africa to serve children in vulnerable neighborhoods. Before we get started, I want to be sure to let you know that this episode is brought to you by the Gamage Consulting Group, and we help enhance schools' student voice and engagement. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Nasiphi. How are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. I'm honored to be talking to you. It's great to hear from overseas specialist or consultant.
Yes, I'm excited as well. When I spoke to Linford before, he mentioned his company TISL and that he had a whole team of people. So I was so excited to hear about what was going on, or the opportunity to speak to more of you all. So I love what you're doing out there. And can you tell us some about TISL and what you're doing with them?
Well, I operate on given my description, on the learning needs of learners, and I also assist where I can with the organization, of which I just recently joined, if you remember. So I haven't really been hands-on because they haven't had a camp. When I joined in, they were coming back from a camp in one of the provinces here in South Africa. Yes.
Okay. So tell me, I think what was interesting as we were talking earlier, you mentioned that you're like a rural development, you're going into rural places and then doing inter-age learning. So you're speaking and working with students basically of multiple ages and generations that are from vulnerable communities. So tell me about some of the work that you're doing and why you wanted to be a part of a company like this.
Well, if you've seen if you've seen and you've lived that kind of life, you sort of don't want the other person to go through the same things you went through. I mean, I had to push myself through university because there were not a lot of people around me, especially in my home, who went after, school days, went to university. So there were not really much mentors, if I can say. So TISL offered that to say that, okay, we're not only going to university for ourselves, to university for ourselves, but we are paving the way for other children who are in vulnerable communities who think that there's no tomorrow beyond their circumstances. So really, it spoke to my interest and what I'd say is my purpose here.
Yeah.
And also what I liked is the development of teachers. I'm a young teacher also. So we get into the system and sometimes there's not a lot of support around you. Mm-hmm. So TISL is also saying that, young teachers bring in a lot to the system. So they need to be supported. They need a space where they would be allowed to bring in their innovative ideas.
Right.
So it's not only learners, it's also both ways. We focus on teachers also.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things that y'all have going on there, and I think there's work that you all in Linford are also doing to help educators learn how to use technology in the classroom. Can you talk some about what a school is like your school that you're working at as a teacher, or some of the places that you're going to teach these students for cancer things. Take me inside a school in South Africa. If you could tell me your province in specific, and take me inside of a school and of a classroom and what it's like a day in the life.
Well, where I work now, it's a full service school of which we are mandated to enroll learners with multiple abilities, if I can say. So the school really, when I came, had no idea around what they were mandated to do. So even my academic knowledge, so I was able to bring in what I know. So of which last year I was very happy about it. Schools, government schools are given a certain fund allocation. So with that, the school was able to procure, as interactive whiteboards. And we are still in the process to procure even more for other grades.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kids that we are having, when I came, I noticed a lot of poor performance. So the observation was that intervention is not done correctly. I mean, you cannot intervene on the child alone. The teacher also needs intervention, and constantly we need to find new ways to make learning fun.
Mm-hmm.
So these children, this community that I work in, it's a very vulnerable community because a lot of people here are unemployed. There's a high rate of violence, substance abuse. So these learners, they don't have a positive reference. So the school is the only place that you can create this kind of reference that you want these children to have.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. So you said a lot there. That's amazing. So I heard you also say, well, part of what you said was that you need intervention for your teachers, for your students, and want to help make learning more fun. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said you also like school is the one place that students can go if, living in a vulnerable environment in your province. What is your province called?
It's Gauteng.
Gauteng?
Yes, the province. And the name of the area, it's Bergstad.
Okay. So when you're there at your school, that's the place. That's basically the escape for kids to be able to go and have an environment that's.
I don't know if you've seen on the news or in the media, but this area has hit a lot by protests, and sometimes protests can go, it can damage a lot. So here in this area, we've seen damage of community halls, centers that could be used for youth development. So they no longer have a youth development center. So this area has been identified as one of the, high risk areas, if I can say, because ticket service delivery is not the same. Yes.
And spell the province for me real quick, so I want to make sure I get this right so I can look at it.
Province, it's Gauteng, Gauteng.
Okay. In the city or the location?
The location, it's Bergstad. It's Becker style, BEKKERSDAL.
Okay.
I don't know if you got it right.
Beckersdale is how I say
Yes, Beckersdale.
Beckersdale in Gauteng. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
The province?
The province is Gauteng, you said right.
Okay, cool. Well, I got that. I want to make sure I got that so I can make sure I share with everybody too, so you can see. So in the schools, that's where the opportunity is to create opportunity for your kids.
And a recent project now, Digital is also adopting schools. So we adopt schools, and those schools are a priority in terms of training. If we identify a need for training, and then if we get a sponsor, they get sponsored. Like the recent one, which there was a sponsor for ICT training, and Linford took the other school from this other village in Limpopo.
Okay. So you adopting the schools to making those priorities for your training. That's where you host the trainings at?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So what do you feel like is the obstacle? Is there any obstacle? What obstacles are in the way of really changing education in the way that it needs to go for you guys?
What I think is the obstacle, I'll be general. I think we're missing a lot on the socio-economic conditions of wherever the schools are. So we focus a lot on what teachers should do and how a school should be. And we leave out the community where the school is. I mean, these children go back home and find whoever is the mother. And sometimes the mother is uneducated, or the grandmother who said that the child is uneducated. So what support is given to her? So I think that's the challenge in the education system. Wow. Although there are programs, schools try to develop programs. So really, I'm not being disingenuous to them, but I think we can do better. We can do better.
Wow, that was so powerful. Oh my goodness. And I feel like it's so true. And also, I don't know if you know this, but I feel like it's the same way in America. You said that what teachers should do, but we talk about the expectations for teachers, but forget that these kids are going back to an environment that doesn't help support all the knowledge that they're taking in during the school day. So I feel like that's exactly what we're dealing with here too. If it's so the area I live, there's a long stretch of land where everybody, 80% of people are in poverty, and in that's the same way that schools are funded. Say that again.
I'm saying it's a problem. It's a problem.
So yeah, that's a big one too. And I think it's interesting because this is the first presidential election that I've really paid close attention to, but it's also the first time that I've heard people really talk about education reform and wanting to pay teachers appropriately, and the importance of preparing folks not just for a college degree, but for the workforce to be productive citizens. So I feel like it's on the way. Unfortunately, it might still take a long time. But I feel like there's steps going in that direction. And if we do the work from the grassroots level, it should work its way back up.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Do you feel like, what role do you feel like you play in solving that problem?
A mediator. I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but it helps to be, I'm new, I'm going to use this scenario. I'm new to the school that I'm working in. And so when I came in, as I said, the school was not capacitated enough in terms of information, of providing support to learners who need special education. So really, there are school managers in the school. So my role when I came was to sit, as new as I was to sit in those school management meetings and kind of advise. So my role really is to say, yeah, we have this problem. This is what we have. The policies that the education system has. So my role is to kind of dissect those policies. I mean, we can't discard them. They are there. We can only make certain provisions, certain additions. So my role really is to advise and dissect those policies. And I don't know if I'm putting it right or you can hear it.
No, that sounds right. You said advising and protecting or checking those policies, along the way. I think being a mediator was an appropriate word to use, because you're kind of making sure everything looks right, that you're not getting played over on a process, or that you're not missing out on the beat. You're kind of dotting the I's and checking the T's. Is that what it is? Dotting the I's and crossing the T's. That's it. Okay, so what does success look like for you then? Like on your journey with TESOL, or just yourself as an educator, what does the ultimate goal look like? Success for yourself, or significance for the people around you?
What I can say for me is the ability to put myself out there and use the knowledge that I've acquired. To impart and to advise when necessary. Really, the biggest one is yet coming on this month. We are in September now. It's a new month, where Linford arranged for me to attend a conference on special needs. So really, I'll be speaking. Or I'll be contributing as part of coming from TISTA. So it's another way of making the organization known of what is it that it's doing.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes a whole lot of sense. That's powerful.
Yes, and also with the support of Linford, I value his contributions, because we are not just members of that organization. He also provides guidance to us as we are the ambassadors of the organization. With his support, I've managed to arrange a conversation with young teachers, of which I think we need to continuously have those conversations with young teachers. A lot of times here in our schools, what I've noticed is that young teachers are sometimes bullied to say that they know a lot. The other teachers who have been in the system say that they know, so they don't need all these fancy things that we come up with. So providing support to them is really necessary. So I think that's what that's also an achievement on my side, that I've managed to identify and arrange a support.
Yeah. So how did you get to this place where, these kind of goals and ambitions and being around people like Linford matter to you so much? What did you grow through to get you to the place that you're at now?
I'm not sure if I got the last part.
I said, what did you go through or grow through to get you to the place where you're at now? So, wanting to achieve such levels of success or provide such levels of opportunity with Linford and doing the work that you're doing now as a mediator in the movement, the education movement. How did you get to that place?
It's really an appreciation of what a country is. Our communities are facing a lot of unemployment, a lot of poverty, but we cannot sit and complain always. Someone has to do her little or his little to contribute to development. So that has been my goal, passion, if I can say, and when I met Linford, it was through Facebook, in an article that I had read about the kind of work that he does, and I was like, this is me, me, and it complements what I do currently at work, and then also that believing that tomorrow is going to be better for other children, for other people, despite what they are going through or their current circumstances.
Yeah. Well, that's real true as well, because you and I, and every other educator, in addition to you and I, is helping to mold and shape, create opportunities for the next generation of people. Whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, or we're going to raise a great generation or a pitiful one. That's up to us, because everybody has to go. Maybe not everybody in the world, but most people have to go to school, and the people that are going to school for some way, shape, or form, whether it's formal or informal, that's the way that we are going to grow and shape the world as we'll know it in the next 10 to 50 years. Yeah,
true that.
Yes,
education, I've seen it's important. Well, I myself am not from a fancy home, but through identification of the importance of education, I think if you have it, that's your weapon against anything.
Absolutely. So tell me, Nasiphi, we've had a great conversation so far today. I think what stood out the most is just the fact that you guys are doing inter-age learning and building off of the technology and uses the resources that you have. That's what's so amazing to me, along with your awareness of the social and political status of Gauteng. So that's amazing to me. Where can the people find you if they want to listen to this or find you somewhere else or learn something about TISTA? Where can we go?
It's on Facebook, really, and we are also on the website. We have a website.
Okay.
Yes, TISTA. And then Facebook, it's TISTA Projects.
TISTA Programs?
Projects.
Okay, project.
Yes.
And what's the email address?
The email address?
Not the email, I'm sorry, the website.
It's TISTA Projects. Okay. .weebly.com.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Yes.
Good.
So everything there, it's there, what we do, pictures you will find. Yes.
Well, good. I love it so much. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me, and I appreciate the time that you took to listen to the Dash podcast. Coming up next, we have two more of your compadres, Miss Nasiphi, with Dr. Mathonsi and Tabiso Atipa, I think. Are you familiar with them?
Yes. Tabiso, yes, Mathonsi, I know.
Yeah, well, I've got some conversations with them coming up. So I learn more I'm looking forward to learning more about what's going on in South Africa. And if you like this episode, I hope you really share it with your friends. Always remember that this is the Dash Podcast, and the episode is sponsored by the Gamers Consulting Group. Go to TreyGamers.com and subscribe to the Dash Podcast on iTunes and Spotify. We will see you next time. This is the Dash.